how bad would it be for you to have to sit there and well, you know what? You deserve it. You deserve it to have to sit there and look at every parent that you've belittled and that you have absolutely made this a clown show. These parents lost the most precious thing that a parent can own, which is a child. Your most precious commodity in your world is once you have a child. You didn't even know that you could love anything on the level of love as a child.
Exactly.
It's like a whole nother level of love.
Yep.
And you love Ashley. You love her a lot.
But Walker, yeah.
But, it's a whole nother situation when you have a child.
Yep.
And you, as a radio host, have gone in and, just made a mockery of this just most tragic event. And there's just nothing that supports your claims. It's so outlandish. And all your other conspiracy theories that you're noted for, and I know it's all about making money, but wasn't there hardcore Alex Jones fans that jumped off the Alex Jones bandwagon from this particular issue?
Not the super hardcore ones, but yeah, I'm sure there was a bunch of fans that...
Listen, I know, I have no problem with Alex Jones except of this issue.
I think he's one of the, if not the greatest broadcaster of all time.
I think he's insane and makes up a bunch of crap, but he has no idea what he's talking about.
And I think I completely co-sign with Blitz and throw in a for-money kicker.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a carnival act.
Oh, and he's great at that.
Still on your show today, trying to say that I'm implying that I'm an actress, that I'm deep state. You have.
All right, so here's the thing. He lost. Like, this is the sentencing portion, or the how much money they're gonna punish him. That's what that's what's on trial now, right, Anna?
Yes.
He's already he no-showed the trial.
Oh, he did? Oh.
I think he no-showed, or is this the actual defamation part of it? That being said,
I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you.
If he's on the air before he has to go to court every day.
Yeah.
Or even the day after.
Yeah, maybe you should just not talk about it.
Maybe you should be baby facing on it.
Maybe you should just not talk about it. Just talk about literally anything else.
Right.
Don't even talk about it.
But if you're going to talk about it,
because there are people who are listening.
If you're going to talk about it, you're going to say, you know what? Later today, I have to, Mrs. Jones is going to testify later today.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Jones, I know that I said a bunch of stupid stuff and irresponsible stuff that you don't agree with back in the day, but I understand your pain, and I'm sorry for what I said. Instead, you double down on the fact that she's a paid actress too, knowing that she's going to go up on. Are your lawyers not? Are you listening to your lawyers?
Well, all this don't sound that good.
All this does is just further make you look like an absolute uncontrollable madman.
Yeah, but I feel like if anybody, and I'm not saying he's right, I'm not saying that at all, but I feel like you can probably understand being on the air, being an entertainer, being in media. Sometimes it gets away from you. Now, he has to get that on lock, obviously, because this is, we're talking about a defamation suit here, but I can totally see him, like, he's trying not to talk about it, and someone brings something up, and then he just lets it fly.
I got in trouble. A lot of people don't know this about early on in my career. When I was early on in 98 Rock, there was a guy, and I think his name was Harold Van, if I remember right. And he was drunk, and he had a van, and he was like a lawn dogger, and he had, or a painter. I think he might have been a painter. Mm-hmm. And but the guys have a white truck, and they just go out and paint all day. They're usually drunks. Yeah, they are. They're
like
drunks.
Hootie.
They go out and they paint all day.
Yeah.
But most painters and a lot of construction guys are drunks.
Interesting.
And a lot of tradesmen, they drink all day while they're doing their job because it's a very loosely, like if you're...
It's not really micromanaged.
Yeah. If you're a painter, and even if you work for a painting company, he goes, hey, Harold, see that house? Yeah. Here's the colors you need. Paint it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
They start with liquid lunch.
Right.
And it's also probably not the best job to have, so you
Blitz,
kind of have to.
If you're a supervisor for a big painting company or a mom and pop deal, then you're just going from house to house to house to check that the 6 projects you got going on all got paint, they all got equipment, they all showed up on time.
And it's a rough job, so you kind of need something to take the edge off.
So this guy named Harold Van, I think he was a painter.
Yeah.
And he was driving down Bruce B. Downs, and he was drunk. And he hit a woman and killed her. Hit her and permanently paralyzed her child. And I got on 98 Rock, and I this guy's a drunk, and he's a piece of crap, and this. But during the trial, they had a trial, and he was sitting there in a suit, and everybody was coming down on him, and there was no absolute wiggle room for him not to be guilty and him not to be a piece of crap, and for him to be sentenced to whatever he whatever he got, he deserved. What I said that got me in trouble wasn't speaking as my angle wasn't leniency for him. I wasn't speaking on behalf of being lenient or what he did. He didn't commit a crime. Mm-hmm. I was speaking about the fairness of the judicial system, and the mom was allowed to stand in front of the jury with her paralyzed kid, and she stood up right in front of the jury with her kid, who looked like was literally a flopping noodle because it's paralyzed. And she stood up and said, "You did this to my child.
Yeah.
You did this to my child." And I said, you know what? I don't know if that's fair. I mean, I think that's very prejudiced, and I don't know if that's, I don't think that that's fair. I'm not sticking up for the guy, but I don't think it's fair to use your kid as a prop. Let the stats come out. Let his blood alcohol level come out. Let the surveillance you have of the intersection come out. All of that information that's pertinent. But for you to then, as the final, closing statements to find this guy guilty or not guilty in front of the jury, for you to use your now paralyzed child as a prop, I don't think is fair.
Why?
And she looked coached and rehearsed. And I said that. It looked very coached and rehearsed. And I don't agree with it. Mm-hmm. That family sued me and won.
Really? Oh.
Well, you know what? I shouldn't say won because wouldn't be undefeated. Clear Channel iHeart settled with him, wrote him a check. So if just in that instance you can be sued, and all I said was, I don't think within the judicial process that you should be able to use a kid as a prop. And 2, her testimony looked coached. And that's all I said.
What was it, on the basis of what? Defamation?
Yes, emotional distress, and at that point I was number 1,
it's
and all of her
not libel or slander.
Nope.
Oh, maybe slander. Because you're just giving your opinion. You're not saying she was coached. You're saying she looks coached.
Well, they went in defamation of character and emotional distress, and iHeart wrote him like a $100,000 check to go away.
Yeah.
But if that got me in trouble, how far has Alex Jones taken it? Right?
I don't know.
I mean, he's got into the
return.
he's got into
asking for $150 million.
Hey.
And it's just
every family?
No, this lawsuit's just for her and the husband, or maybe one other family. Yeah.
That I'm,
and you know what? She's going to win.
Probably.
She's going to win. She's going to win a lot of money. If Hogan won $141 million, and all that was really broadcast, and the embarrassing part was that his penis, it looks like he had a pretty big penis, and he blasted my wife, and that's worth $41 million. Oof. What is making fun of a family that lost a child and continuing to use your national? I mean, listen, I think Gawker Blitz had the tape up for what, a couple weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
How long has Alex Jones been hard selling this? Years?
Right.
Years.
Well, I mean, the trial...
every day, years of getting on the air every day.
No, but he said he was incorrect about this, about it being a
all right.
false flag.
How many years was he one way, and how many years has he been sorry? I mean,
I'll see when he made his apology, but it was only a few years ago, I think.
Right. So there was 5 or 6 years that he hard sold the hell out of this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then just most recently, he's said he might have been wrong on it.
implying that I'm an actress, that I'm deep state. You have this week. And I don't understand.
These are just normal people, and that's being tried in their community. And again, a jury of their peers isn't necessarily a jury of Alex's peers. He's in very hostile territory here.
Oh, yeah.
He's in their backyard with their friends on the jury, and he's not coming across. And his only chance would be, Anna, is to come across likable and sorry, not double down on your deal. They're going to hand you. I mean, they'll bank. I mean, he's going to lose it all.
Didn't he just admit that it was real, like yesterday?
Yeah.
Truth
It might just be a direct
is
quote.
so vital to our world. Truth is what we base our reality on. And we have to agree on that to have a civil society.
He's still so caught up in this weird conspiracy mindset that he doesn't really think this is real.
So-
Still doesn't think
But he
it's real.
publicly
hold
came
on.
out a
So
few
he
years
didn't-
ago and said that
He didn't think that
maybe
this
he
whole
apologized
process
for it.
isn't real.
No, he
Blitz?
just said it yesterday.
Well, that's a
the first
direct
time.
quote.
No,
It says for the first time.
yeah.
Yeah.
He said he finally admits that it was 100% real.
Yeah.
Like it says 20 like yesterday or
During
2
the
days ago.
trial. Yeah. Well, it's,
Whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Again,
Because he went on
Completely,
Rogan and they talked about Sandy Hook, and he's like, yeah, I messed up on that one. You know, he had said it like that. Maybe he didn't say it was 100% real, but he had publicly come out and said, I messed up on that one.
yeah,
by getting in trouble.
And do you know why?
Yeah, just a baby face for
Well,
publicly. I don't think he really
no.
believed it either.
No, because Rogan would shove it and break it off in his ass if he hadn't. I mean, right? Joe's not gonna let that stand. So he comes up with, yeah, I made a mistake on that one. Now you disarm Joe, because if you hard sell it with Joe, Joe's going to call you out, right? And then you're probably never going to. You live in Austin, so Joe has you on. Joe is your only hope of staying relevant. And so you make Joe happy as all can be, because coming soon, that might be your only person. That might be the only person that is allowed to put you on the air, right? Nobody else. I mean. This isn't going to go well for him. This is not going to go well for him. This is going to be. I don't know if he survives this. Right? I mean, Blitz, you know how when you get blacklisted, and I mean, it could even be where who hosts his servers on Infowars, right? That, if they want you bad enough, they'll say, oh, yeah, you know what? You can have Infowars, but...
Yeah, I mean, this is just going to be a money thing. This is all just to determine how much money he owes them. That's it.
I know, but it's publicly making him look like even more of a dick.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be good for him.
It's a hard truth.
Sorry.
Hard truth. Nobody would want to ever believe that 26 kids could be murdered.
3,
Nobody would ever want
2.
to believe that. I understand people not wanting to believe that, actually. I don't want to believe it.
I mean, again, we're not talking about anything that has any type of wiggle room where you can be a dick about. This is 26 kids, or 26 people, most of which were young kids that got killed. I mean, you saw their dead bodies being transported in ambulances. They all had funerals. They all had autopsies.
He thought, and I believe he still kind of thinks that that's all set up. It's all fake. It's all
The government set it up.
And so the kids, we now are in the part where we would kill kids.
No, they think that they didn't actually die.
Yeah, there was no kids. That school has been
But
closed.
everyone's a crisis
this is
actor.
all,
All right,
this is
so-
all fake.
and
These
so
are all
that-
paid actors.
And so where's their kid? They're hiding him?
There was never a kid. They never had a
Yeah.
kid. It was all fake.
How about all the videos and
Fake.
pictures of him and being a little kid growing up through T-ball
Nah,
and
it was somebody else.
going to Grandpa's house
those are
and,
kids.
Somebody else.
in his first birthday and seeing Santa Claus for the first time and all the pictures that we have of our children
False
or all the
flag.
pictures that your parents have of you.
False flag.
But
Government conspiracy.
Again, good luck, buddy.
since that day, dedicated my life to keeping kids.
Hey, I'm torn up by just trying to get the truth out over some stupid sex tape. Can you imagine if you were being told that your son that you lost really didn't die and it's all a fake? I would kill God. It's not a wonder Alex Jones. Somebody hasn't killed him.
Sure
One of
people
these,
tried.
one of these dads. God, just like Blitz said, oh, you guys, you wouldn't be seeing that guy around much longer.
Mm-mm.
It's safe. It's our responsibility. I used to think it was.
I mean,
the school's
granted, you know,
responsibility. It's actually.
Alex was just talking. He didn't do anything, so.
Did they get a lot of like hate or threats
But
from
I mean, they've
his
had to live.
listeners?
But they've had to
Yes.
live.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, his listeners went crazy on these people.
Yeah, I mean, then you have to go. Well, is that really Alex's fault? I mean, these people are should be
well,
responsible for their own actions.
Yeah, you're right. But you know, I mean, you're right.
But
And
defamation is
and he does have, but emotional distress. Who I mean,
well, I mean,
you're going to put a value. I mean, a jury of your peers in your community are going to put who've seen you
I mean,
suffer.
I could sue chat for emotional distress. You know what I mean? I'm not saying this is on the same level as that, but do you understand how there's a lot of gray area?
Alex's problem is that he did not show up to court when this trial was going on, so he has a default judgment. He's guilty.
Right.
So
That's
this is just the how much is he going to pay?
That's what
them?
I'm saying, Blitz. This
Yeah.
is not the trial. This is the sentencing portion
Right, because he didn't go to the
of
trial.
how much he's going to have to compensate. So he already looks like a dick. He laid down on the deal, wasn't even man enough to defend it. They found him, guilty. So now the jury or the judge or whoever now gets to hear the testimony that he ran away from. And it's just it doesn't put him in a really good position. It puts him in a position to really, really get it broke off in his ass.
Yeah.
And like, was it worth it? Was it worth it? No, it wouldn't be worth it if you lost it all.
And I've dedicated my life to that. And having a quarter.
And you get hardcore people that think Alex Jones is okay, but then to watch him sit here and have to be for him then to, and so while this is you have a default judgment against you, you're guilty. There's no way for you not to be guilty. Right, Blitz? Like there's no way for so he's guilty.
Yep.
By public sentiment and by the court's opinion. In the way that things work, he's guilty. He can't ask for appeal. He can't do it. It's done.
Yeah,
So-
not showing up to court and not having a good reason. There's almost no judge that's going to give you another trial. Or anything. You're done.
That's your
You
world
didn't
that
show up.
that's the world that you live in. That's the hand that you've been dealt. So if you want to mitigate that, so that you can potentially continue to do what you do for a living, then you can't get people like me that are fringe Alex Jones that appreciates his talent, that appreciates his balls. Now, when I'm jumping off your ship and I'm a shock jock and I'm in the business to cause problems and things like that, and when I'm jumping off, then you're done. Then the average American is done with you because I can't for the life of me understand how you could sit here, but during your show, if you know you got to go to court later that day and face these people, then you're just an idiot if you're
that's
calling
just
these
stupid.
people out.
That's just dumb.
You deserve every hundreds of millions of dollars that they award. By the way, you're uncollectible. They're not going to get a dime out of
That's
you.
the thing is they're not
Maybe
gonna get
that's why
anything.
you're so brazen is because you know at the end of the day, whatever that number would be, you're uncollectible.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter what the number is.
They can't take your house, and they probably can't take your studios, which are at your house. Or I'm just saying, you've probably protected those. So now it is, maybe we got it wrong, Blitz. Maybe he turns up the dick factor because he knows that he's going to be left with nothing. So he might as well go out like a pimp to try to build back, based on how much.
His hardcore followers
Right.
aren't going anywhere.
Right.
Unless they can't find him, like he just can't broadcast anymore.
But you do
he
have
will.
the ability at the end of the day, man. Blitz, it wouldn't be unreasonable for, whoever his server host is, how they distribute and stream to say, we're not allowing you to stream on our servers anymore.
That does happen.
That happened to Trump, did it not?
Mm-hmm.
It happened to Trump on something that isn't nearly as bad as this.
He was the president.
Americans doubt that Sandy Hook happened or doubt the facts around Sandy Hook is not conducive to keeping our kids safe. It's not.
I'm just fast forwarding.
And I sent you the Rogan clip. Of him
Jones went on
explaining.
his InfoWars show and insulted the parents.
Yeah, I'm going through a couple of the high spots here.
Go ahead.
And I'm looking at it, and I'm watching what's being said and what's going on, and it really then makes it clear what happened.
How does it make you feel knowing?
And all he's doing is just giving them
Incriminating himself.
Yeah. Unless that's what he's trying to do.
When was that video that he
The
showed?
day before?
Oh, God.
That was said
The night before?
today by this man.
Today. That was said today.
It's the same outfit.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it is. Watch.
How does it make you feel knowing that was said today by this man on his radio show?
Today.
While Jesse's father was testifying in that same seat you're sitting in.
I've had a hard time finding words today.
Try to
And again, I don't know if it's a judge or it's a jury. They identify with this woman. They live in the same community as her. They've seen her suffer at the loss of their child. They know other people that have probably lost children. They know that this event really did happen.
Yeah.
And then this guy here is just who's out of town, Mr. Johnny Fat Face, bloated tick, loudmouth. I mean, and that's how that. And they're going to be like, we're going to show him. I wouldn't be surprised, Anna, that if it's 100 million. How much are they? Aren't they going for 100? Over 100?
150. Yeah,
I
they're
wouldn't
asking for
be.
150.
I wouldn't be surprised if they get it all.
Yeah.
apologize, but look what happened.
I like the face that he makes when he finds out that the lawyers got the text.
Oh, yeah.
And what was in his head.
Here we go.
Before we do that, I just do want to say this on record, because I've said it many times. I apologize to both.
Sustained. So, Mr. Jones, one of the instructions I just gave you is that this is not a conversation. Question and answer.
So she got the monologue, but not me. I got it.
Oh.
So again, he says he's sorry, but then seems to criticize Lewis by saying she monologued. And by the way, his response would seem to support his contention that this whole trial is unfair and a violation of his rights. Anyway, Jones would go on.
And listen, that could be your argument. Had you showed up for the first one,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
You can have that argument all day. In fact, that is your argument on the first trial.
Why
That
did-
is your defense.
Why did he say he didn't show up the first time?
I don't know.
I don't
Like,
yeah, I
did
don't
he
remember.
make a statement about
Hello.
it?
Hey, when a bum or a crazy guy's at the gas station talking to a person that's civilized and he knows this dude is talking crap, they usually ignore him. So when this dude is talking crap like this, for these people to even pay attention to this guy is ridiculous, because half of the world or the United States knows the truth. Why does this guy say this crap and everybody's like,
Well, here's the
Gotta
thing.
pay
Here's the
attention to
thing. If he talked about, I don't think that these parents would have near the claim had he not singled them out. He has singled them out individually. And, you know,
Yeah,
this isn't just some anonymous parent that whose parent. He singled these people out. That's probably what gave them tort and the ability to sue. Is that talking about. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Probably talking about, talking about Sandy Hook as an event without singling out people probably isn't near the problem as to when you single out parents and start calling them by name. I mean, do you does that make any sense? Does anybody agree with me on that? Like, if you talk about the incident as an incident and you're not calling out this particular mom and this particular dad, I think it gives them less standing to sue you to when you call them out.
Well, I think that's why that's why he's singling them out, is because they sued him. But he not showing up to the court case is
just dumb.
Yeah, here we go. Now this is Alex Jones' text messages accidentally sent.
Oh yeah.
To Sandy Hook
Just
defense
watch
team.
his face and his head explodes.
Nice trick.
Yes, Mr. Jones. Indeed.
You did get my text messages. And it said you didn't. Nice trick.
Yes, Mr. Jones. Indeed. You didn't give this text message to me. You don't know where this came from. Do you know where I got this?
No.
Mr. Jones,
Oh, God.
did you know that 12 days ago, your attorneys messed up and sent me an entire digital copy of your entire cell phone with every text message you've sent for the past 2 years, and when informed, did not take any steps to identify it as privileged or protected in any way. And as of 2 days ago, it fell free and clear into my possession. And that is how I know you lied to me when you said you didn't have text messages about Sandy Hook. Did you?
Oh my God.
Yeah, his attorneys messed up and
Yeah.
sent them all of his texts, emails, and
Why didn't they tell him?
everything.
Why didn't they tell him?
They probably didn't know. They may not have known.
And look at him.
They didn't know?
Oh, crap.
Look, hold on.
See, I told you the truth. This is your Perry Mason moment. I gave them my phone, and then
Mr. Jones, you need to answer the question.
no,
Did you know this happened?
And by the way, you can tell that the judge does not
Oh, yeah, no,
like
she
him
hates him.
at all.
Yeah.
And so he should blitz.
And I don't-
he
you know-
should he should be taking that in consideration while
Well, it's-
being on the air during this process.
It's riling him up and making him more angry, which I get that, but like,
It's not a good look. It's not going
It's
to be
not.
good. It's
It's
not going to
not.
be good for him.
no, I didn't know this happened. But I mean, I told you I gave them the phone over. Just,
Just
And you
answer the
said,
question.
you said in your deposition, you searched your phone. You said you pulled down the text, did the search function for Sandy Hook. That's what you said, Mr. Jones, correct?
and I had several different phones with this number, but I did, yeah. Well, of course. I mean, that's why you got it.
No, Mr. Jones, that's not what happened.
My lawyer sent it to you, but I'm hiding it. Okay.
Mr. Jones,
Mr. Jones, that's,
please just answer questions. There's no question. Mr. Bankston also,
Oh, she's being extra stiff too.
oh yeah.
Like that should be admissible. Like most judges would let that fly because it's an emotional. It's a follow up emotion to an answer.
Oh, because he said the okay after or something?
Yeah, I mean she's being
Giving a little bit of an
she's
attitude.
really putting the screws to him.
For sure.
I mean she's real. I mean
Mr. Jones,
I hope that she doesn't put the screws to him so much that he's got an appellate issue. Because you know what, like the more over the top she could blitz, he could at least, and he's not gonna fare any better on the appellate issue. But you know, sometimes a judge won't be that one way or the other because they don't want to get an appeal against him.
How do you screw that up? They sent it to the
discovery.
I don't know. Here we go.
other
You
team.
were asked, do you have Sandy Hook text messages on your phone? And you said no, correct? You said that under oath.
Oops.
Ugh, perjury.
I was mistaken, but you got the messages right there.
You know what perjury is, right? I just want to make sure you know before we go.
Oh,
into
God.
this.
Yes, I do. I mean, I'm not a tech guy. I told you I gave in my testimony the phone to the lawyers before, whatever, and so you got my phone, but we didn't give it to you.
No, Mr. Jones, one more time. And please remember, if you need to assert the Fifth Amendment, you can.
He's scrambling.
Yes.
And the judge even, boy, Blitz, you know you're screwed when the when the guy asking you questions gives you the first Fifth Amendment option.
Yeah.
Yippee Brando,
When the
1,000
guy
bits.
that's trying to really shove it up your ass suggests that you might want to go 5 on it,
Mm-hmm.
you are screwed.
I need to know that you can do that.
I want listen. Hold on here.
Remember, if you need to assert the Fifth Amendment, you can. I need to know that you can do that. But you testified under oath previously that you personally searched your phone for the phrase Sandy Hook and there were no messages. You said that under oath.
Yes.
And you lied when you said it.
No, I did not lie.
He is so screwed. For once, Blitz, it's great to look at a guy that's more screwed than me.
Right.
There you go.
Anna sent me a clip from the Joe Rogan show circa, 18, 19? Hold on.
Sorry.
Yeah, 19?
Yeah, from February 2019.
And he's all...
And I haven't watched this in a long time, so forgive me if I forgot some of the
Alex
details.
Jones is so all over the road. Like, he looks schizophrenic in the fact that he can't maintain a position on this.
Kiss fan 1975, get the 5 subs.
Initially, he comes out, it didn't happen. Then he says,
I mean,
a
people
lot
change
of
their
the
minds.
information he got was wrong, so it did happen, and he's sorry. And now, even as late as yesterday, as he's being tried now, he's still hard selling that it didn't happen. Like
Yippee Brando, 10,000.
Thank you, Yippee Brando.
Yippee Brando, 10,000 bits.
Talk about like quick to get it over with, or not quick, but just to get it
Up front.
Up front. That's the best way.
Or
to
to
put
be
it.
misrepresented.
Yes, is the Sandy Hook stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So your take on it. Just give me your take on it.
Well, first off, because it's always misrepresented, I believe mass shootings.
I think that Alex Jones is brilliantly insane.
Absolutely.
In the fact that I think he's got a great mind. I think he's just like, he's insane. because I think he believes this stuff. Like this isn't show.
Yeah.
This isn't a lot of it. A lot of it's showman, but a lot of it he really believes.
Well, the problem is he finds one or two things that he is right about that a lot of people might not know, and then applies that to everything else that he's not right about.
Right.
But assumes that he is.
Happen, and they're real tragedies. And I believe Parkland happened.
And you believe Sandy Hook happened?
Absolutely. And now, just last year, the media came out and said Alex Jones says Parkland didn't happen, and he's sending people to Parkland parents' houses. And there was no video, no audio, wasn't true. In fact, I said I believe Parkland happened.
Is slander.
So I'm not going to be the mass shooting denial guy. I have been branded as the Sandy Hook guy. I mean, imagine a Final Cut Pro video editing timeline. And you go back almost, it was 7 years ago, I guess it's more than 7 years now, and the internet didn't believe some of the things about Sandy Hook. I started covering it weeks after. My first articles and things are, this will be used for gun control, and I bet the guy's on Prozac and a mental patient, which he was.
Of course.
But then about a couple of weeks into it, my listeners and others start sending me all these anomalies and things, and later it turned out some of those anomalies weren't accurate. And then,
again, hold on. You just can't downplay. You went hard on those anomalies.
Of course.
You went hard on that, and you just can't scoff it like this. I'm sorry.
Of course.
But then about a couple of weeks into it, my listeners and others start sending me all these anomalies and things, and later it turned out some of those anomalies weren't accurate.
Okay. Well, you went hard in the paint with those anomalies, and that's what's caused all this problem.
Yeah, but
And
they
then I
weren't
just
accurate. Big deal.
moved on from it, okay? I mean, I'm not Adam Lanza. I didn't kill those kids. But when I'm on the streets now, people don't know who Adam Lanza is, the guy that killed those kids. They think it's me. They say, I can't believe you're not in prison for what you did to Sandy.
And see, Joe Rogan actually calls him out on this and says, no, that's not what people think. That's not what people think. I love Joe's position on this.
All they know is Alex Jones, Sandy Hook, dead kids. So,
well, I don't think that's. I think the majority of them are angry because the narrative has been that you're sending people to these Sandy Hook families' homes.
See, Joe sets him straight and goes, that's not what, Joe ain't going to let that fly.
Homes.
Exactly, and I'm not, and I never have.
That you're responsible for these people getting harassed because you said on your radio show that it wasn't real.
Yes, there is video and audio of me saying I can see how people don't think it happened, and I can see how people think it's synthetic because there's been staged events before.
Again, you scoff over, like, you just kind of gloss over that.
Well,
That then
that's
gets
okay.
edited, put together, cobbled together, but I never said go to people's houses. I never said go investigate
Did
these
you ever
families.
say that you think it's not real?
Yes, I did.
But now you do think it's real.
Because I learned some of the anomalies were not accurate.
That's a problem with all this conspiracy shit, right?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. And then see, Joe breaks it down. Joe breaks it down.
Well, he's trying to make this apology look believable because
Right.
Alex is his friend. He's trying to help him out.
I know it's what I'm saying.
So he's trying to make it, not make it
but
seem,
Alex makes it
make
tough
it as
sometimes.
real. Absolutely. And
Even the most craftiest, well-liked master communicators like Joe Rogan, and he's trying to dance with you. And when you're stepping on Joe's toes, he's just trying to do you a solid.
And
right?
whenever he does a podcast with Alex Jones, he always slows down his speech all the time because Alex goes so fast and he just wants to break down for the audience because it's really hard to digest because Alex will just go on and on and on and on.
Right.
Conspiracy theory stuff, the people that want to believe, they believe in conspiracies with everything. And I think there's a certain percent, and we talked about this just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, when I started getting accused 4 years ago, a couple of years into it, when I said, no, I think it happened, then people that I had interviewed and things started saying, he's involved, he's one of them.
Because you are now saying that it happened, they thought that you'd been compromised.
Yes, and then I was realizing,
this is how it works.
A certain percentage of people are schizophrenic.
Exactly.
And then they just think everything's a conspiracy.
Well, this is the thing about conspiracies. It's very attractive to people that are schizophrenic.
He says the F word here. I'm trying to get cut it out.
Schizophrenic people think everything's a fucking from top to bottom. Every single interaction that people have is some sort of a stage event that's trying to take them down or control this.
And
or
it's true. Like everything.
Absolutely.
I mean, the police officer that gave you a speeding ticket today is because they're trying to, get
Like
your
globalists are
get your
after you
information
right.
and get you into the system.
New World
and
Order.
Then they know your driver's license number. And now next thing you know, they're going to kill your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Mind control that. That's a big factor in a lot of this conspiracy theory shit.
Oh.
Is mental illness.
When I started having people come to the office,
And again, he does. Joe gives him the softball, right? And then he just goes off on his own tangent.
Yeah.
Joe, all Alex had to say is, Joe, you're so right. You're so right, buddy. And that's not what I'm trying to do here. Right?
Give
No.
your brand to 1,000 bits.
He just goes off into his own deal. Joe just threw you a softball, Alex, and you're going to make it all about yourself again.
Started having people come to the office saying that I'm Bo Bridges or that I'm Jeff Bridges or that I am
you're Bill Hicks.
Bill Hicks, and people in restaurants screaming, F you, Bill, we know it's you. It's kind of like Dan Rather, the guy threatening me. What's the signal, Dan? What's the signal?
What is inside of his head?
A lot.
I've experienced now the quote fame
Lot of Adderall.
of being super famous, being a conspiracy guy. I was legitimately questioning things because of Gulf of Tonkin, Northwoods, things that really happened, babies that weren't thrown out of incubators to get us in the Iraq War. But I kind of
What?
Babies that were thrown out of incubators to get us into the Iraq War. That's a new one.
I realized a few years ago that I kind of had my own mild psychosis.
You think?
You think?
I wouldn't call it
You know, when
mild.
you've been lied to by the media and the culture so much over and over again, everything then starts becoming automatically, you're sure it's fake. And then everything you see fits into that.
And that's why you're insane.
I get that.
Probably, again, 4 or 5 years ago, I began to realize, because I was on the receiving end of people pulling up in white vans with guns at my office saying, I know you put a microchip in my head and I'm going to kill you. And so it was kind of like, once I got super famous, it was like, whoa.
This is almost like a South Park episode.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
I guess it was reported that Iraqi soldiers were taking babies out of incubators in Kuwait.
Well, I mean, sure.
Again, he takes things he finds that are true, parts of it, and then applies it to everything else that's not.
Well, no, this actually came out to be not true.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a certain...
But Alex doesn't have a lot of vetting. He just likes to go with the knee-jerk Willie.
Exactly what it is.
Percentage of people that are way off on the spectrum where they believe everything's fake, and then there's people that believe everything they hear is true. I mean, you should be questioning. You should have the right to do
with
it.
everything.
But it's somewhere in the middle. And so,
and again, Alex hasn't said anything that isn't really just common sense.
This is what I'll say about Sandy Hook. I legitimately questioned it when people brought up anomalies. I then had debates about it on both sides. The internet pushed me to keep covering it. I probably covered it 20 times in the first few years it happened. And then as soon as I questioned it, not being staged, I got attacked so much that I said, screw it, mass shootings happen. I believe it happened. But then media...
indigestion or something? Was he that out of breath?
He's out of shape.
Would call me or interview me and say, okay, but tell us the anomalies of why you questioned. They were getting me to say it.
10,000.
Thank you, my friend.
Again, not that I didn't have the right to question it, but they thought, well, Alex Jones versus dead kids, Alex Jones denying it, Alex Jones harassing families. This is a perfect way to get this guy who's so popular and getting people to question and getting people to think.
Man, I've seen enough. And there's a lot of narcissism in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, psychosis, narcissism.
Well, much like you said, if you think that you have something to say and you have to have a certain amount of swag, and
there comes a point, man, when
you
you're
have a
talking
big
about
following.
when you're talking about dead kids, you can only slice a few different ways, and they're usually not good.
I know.
Dead kids, women, and animals, and I know two of those three.
Yeah.
Was promoted
And pro wrestlers on your wife.
Oh, that's very specific.
Yeah, I mean, dead kids, animals,
These are
and
very
pro wrestlers
specific
on your
lessons
wife.
you've learned.
Yeah, dead kids, animals, and pro wrestlers on your wife. Not good.
Brother.
Career suicide, brother. I'll be in my office. I'll be in my office watching you blow up your career, kid. I'll be on top of your wife, and you're going to be in your office watching your complete everything you own. Go to
The demise of your
See
life.
this big ass. See this 7,000 square foot home that you own that I'm banging your wife in. It ain't going to be yours long, buddy.
It's gone.
Do you sell vitamins?
Yes.
Are your vitamins FDA certified?
No, they're not.
Why not?
Why does this have to do with anything?
Well, I mean, it's
I guess he's going
it's
somewhere with
his
it.
background.
Yeah, okay.
96 law, the FDA has no jurisdiction over any nutraceuticals, not the ones at Whole Foods, not the ones at GNC, and not ours.
He's right.
And ours are private labeled, top brands that are sold at Whole Foods and GNC. We have them made by the top lab recognized in the United States. All we do is put our label on it so we know it's triple tested, the highest quality, and that's why people love it, because it
He made it into an infomercial.
I
I kind of actually like it.
is the
Well, they asked him about
best
it.
out there. And I'll give it to Whole Foods, and I'll give it to GNC and others. They got the same stuff. There's all sorts of crap you can buy at a gas station out there. That's not what ours is.
Hey, what's up?
I mean, we buy our PQ.
That might be all he's down to is selling vitamins at a gas station. He might be quite prophetic there.
PQ and CoQ10 from the Japanese. I mean, it's the best.
The Japanese.
Costs 5 times what synthetic PQQ and CoQ10 cost.
Whoa.
It costs 5
Just
times as much, you
incredible.
said?
Yeah.
But what Jones also did, and this was a problem for him.
I'm going to be honest with you. I usually don't like stuff like this, but I like this. I like this guy, and I think he sets up Alec. I think he sets the stuff up great, and he's not real long about it.
Yeah.
He gets in and I like this guy.
Okay.
And historically we hate everybody.
Yes.
Everybody sucks but us.
Is that he told some untruths. He said on the stand that he complied with discovery requests and that he's bankrupt. This is not true. A default judgment was entered against him because of his failure to comply with the litigation process. And he may have had the parent company of InfoWars file for bankruptcy, but as the judge would later say, that doesn't mean he's bankrupt. And so he's not exactly being 100% transparent on the stand. In fact, after the jury was excused, the judge admonished.
Again, Sonna, this is in front of a jury. This isn't like it's a judge making a rule.
Yeah.
This is people that live in the community,
Right.
And scolded Alex Jones. I should say, actually, throughout the whole day, Jones and Judge Maya Guerra Gamble had heated and testy exchanges.
Again, he's not setting himself up for a favorable verdict. They are gonna break it off in his ass.
Bury him, yeah.
They are. Hey, whether you like Alex Jones, you don't like him, you think he's being railroaded. Some of what he says should be allowed. Some of it's not a problem. All of it's a problem. He's a dick. This small little town is going to break it off in his ass. Just like when Gawker, this New York-based company, came down here and tried to make our hometown guy look like stupid, right? A lot of Hogan, listen, I hate to keep referring back to that, but a lot of Hogan's success versus Gawker was just geographically where it was tried and who's perceived as what in this community, right?
Yeah.
And, Gawker comes down with their New York mentality. Well, Alex Jones is going into a what is it? Is it Vermont? What is it? Sandy Hook?
Massachusetts or Connecticut?
Connecticut.
Yeah.
But it was
it's
a small little community.
Yeah.
And he's coming in here, boss hogging and being a dick. That doesn't work for small little communities.
Nope.
They come together.
Were you instructed that there were some things you could not testify about?
Yes.
Could not what?
Provide
And
them.
do you remember what they were?
Yes.
And what were they? Just top.
Mitch Lucerini, $100 on the Venmo.
I have a
Thank
question.
you. At the Bubba Army, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. Thank you, Mitch. What?
So if you're having a civil suit, right, and something comes out during the civil suit that something illegal happened, like, for example, the perjury, right? You can't lie under oath. Can it turn into a criminal offense? Like,
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so then instead of just like a lawsuit, they can actually administer prison time?
It's very, very, very rare.
But it can happen?
But the judge has the power to, after the jury would come back,
Right.
she would say, I also am going to find you guilty of perjury.
Right.
Based on what their decision would be.
Okay.
Now, Blitz, if they would find him to be credible and not award anything, or not, then she would take that in consideration, that his perjure wasn't that big of a deal. But if they come back with a huge verdict, just to add insult to injury, you can see how they don't like each other. She could say, Mr. Jones, I'm also holding you in contempt of court for perjury, and you are to be remanded to the deputies right now, and you will spend 10 days in jail.
Oh.
Okay.
I mean, Blitz, right? I mean, it wouldn't be
I didn't know
it
if you
wouldn't
could
be
do
a
that or
large
not.
sentence, but a lot of times they'll if you're contempt in court, they'll give you 4 or 5 days.
And they find you too, or no?
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah, maybe, but literally, Anna, she could
spend jail time.
She could literally,
Or spend
after
time in
this
jail.
is done, have him not even allowed to go back to the hotel room and get his No, have the deputies grab him right there and go serve his 5 days. Blitz, am I
perjury?
right? I think she can.
Yeah, I don't. She can charge him with perjury and she could have him remanded, but I don't think she can just say, "Hey, you're spending 10 days."
I think, you know what? Maybe we can have one of our mini lawyers call in and give us a ruling on that, because I think she can. I think if you're in contempt of court, the judge has the ability to immediately remand you. I think. Allow me another $100 on the Cash App.
Oh, thank you.
Bradford, was it Bauer?
Ballard. Ballard?
Bradford Bauer.
Nice.
$100 in the Cash App at the Bubba Army. Thank you.
I remember that first there was a document you put out saying don't talk about free speech, don't say I'm innocent, and a bunch of other stuff, and then that got withdrawn. I believe you withdrew it. I think it's called motion in limine.
Okay, so you don't remember?
No. I remember currently.
Stop. You believe everything you say is true, but it isn't. Your beliefs do not make something true. That is what we're doing here.
Oh.
Just because you claim to think something is true does not make it true. It does not protect you. It is not allowed. You are under oath. That means things must actually be true when you say them. Don't talk.
And then there was this weird
Again, Blitz, they are going to break it off in this guy.
back and forth over whether Alex Jones was chewing gum.
I mean, usually,
oh God.
Usually, man, the judge, as a judge, is trying to stay right down the middle and be fair. So there's no appellate issue. She doesn't get overruled on an appeal. That's bad for judges' records on it, is to get an appeal. That's like,
like they weren't fair and neutral.
Right. Like it's really bad. So that's why they play it usually really fair and right down the middle.
Like you don't even know what side they're swinging.
Right. They
have a poker face, a good poker face.
They're just there to interpret the law.
Yeah.
To make sure everybody's following the letter of the law procedurally.
Just moderate the trial.
They're the referee of procedure.
Mm-hmm.
And when the judge doesn't like you and you're irritating her or him,
or they,
or they, them, whoever,
sport.
Spit your gum out, Mr. Jones.
Oh God.
Well, what is it? Because you're not allowed food or
is he gonna swallow
of
it?
any kind in the courtroom.
I had my tooth pulled a week and a half ago, and I had some gauze in there earlier, and it's been causing me to have some pain.
So you're chewing on your gauze?
Would you like me to show you?
No, I just want you to answer my question.
No, I was massaging the hole in my mouth with my tongue. Right here.
I don't want to see the inside of your mouth.
Oh no, there's no gum. Hole.
He's still on air.
It's almost like an Andy Kaufman deal.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
He's turning it into a sideshow. And it's going to be bad for him.
That's the thing is he's upset that she's being a bitch, but I mean sometimes you just gotta take it.
Sometimes, Blitz, the system's not skewed for you, and you just gotta sit there and
take it.
Sit down.
It's like you can't make this stuff up.
This guy's right.
But
and who's handling him? Who's allowing him to act?
The same lawyer that let his stuff leak out to the other attorneys. That's who's
sent
handling
it to them.
Great point, Blitz. Thanks.
Yeah, that's who's handling him.
Sorry about that. Sorry for the stupid question.
Was at the very end of the day. As the judge left,
I like this law and crime sidebar. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Because otherwise you'd be like, what's happening here?
Right, in 12 minutes,
He's
man,
setting it up.
This guy's got us completely, the whole thing wrapped up in 12 minutes with all the setups and everything.
Yeah, it's great.
They're doing a good job.
The jury left. Scarlett Lewis, again, the plaintiff in this case, appears to hand something to Alex Jones, maybe Tylenol or something like that. And then he turns to her and Neil Heslin and starts up a conversation with them.
No.
He shakes their hands and then tries to apologize, but that is quickly interrupted by one of the plaintiff's attorneys, Wes Ball, and this gets very intense.
Oh, good.
Whoa.
Good. I haven't seen this.
And that he's slow and autistic.
No, I'm slow on certain days too. I'll be honest on here.
That's it. We're not talking anymore. You're not doing this. That's not even a thought. That's not the way this goes.
On him. Why? Because you can't feed them fake videos anymore?
Oh my God.
That's what you're trying to do, shut my mouth. You'll never succeed.
My son's autistic.
He just looks like a carny.
He can't help himself.
Is that guy right there on the right talking into a microphone in his shirt?
I think so.
I think I'm autistic too, buddy.
He's probably a bailiff or.
I'm autistic too.
Shut your mouth. I think I'm autistic too. The level of animosity between these sides is just so palpable. And so the question is, what is going to happen next?
I'll tell you what's going to happen. Alex Jones is done. Did you say is the best?
Is effed.
Oh, I thought you said it's the best.
Who knows? But we're going to follow it.